Okay, now this is a different leg extension or knee extension machine, a Cybex Eagle, right? And now I've got a lot of friends that really love Cybex machines, and I typically have had pretty good experiences with them as long as they're properly maintained. But I wanted to show you this one, because I want you to take a look at the other knee extension video on the different machine, the Life Fitness machine, and compare it to this in terms of how the resistance changes. You'll notice something, hopefully, right? And also, I got a much clearer view of what's going on here. The axis, right? You can see that's kind of looking down the axis there as this thing moves, right? It's all spinning or pivoting about that little metal cylinder there. So that's the center of our rotation. You see the cable coming out of the machine, going right down. This is a much clearer view. It's a simpler situation to look at and evaluate, I think. Now, as I extend the knee, again, as we do this exercise, I want you to take a look at what happens. Again, there's line of force. My axis is over here. Perpendicular distance, I'm not measuring with something precise, but we can eyeball it, right? And to me, that looks like about 10 inches, something like that. Now watch what happens. As I start to push this guy out, well, would you look at that, right? Pretty pronounced change. Now, it's kind of a cool thing, right? So again, we start off, and our quads are going to be fairly lengthened, maybe not fully lengthened, right? Depends on your flexibility and also where you set your starting point here. You can adjust where the pad starts, so you can adjust the length of your range of motion. So that's a good thing to play with as well. So you can alter that. But if we look at this thing, again, see where this line of force is related to that axis. And now, as I start to straighten my leg out, as I'm doing the rep, it actually comes out a tiny bit, right? The moment arm actually increases, right? You see that cable getting a little farther from the axis. But now watch what happens. Once I get past here, right? As I go and extend past that point, watch what happens. Boom. Starts to come in pronounced, right? It's a very significant drop off in the moment arm. I've gone from 10 inches down to about 8, right? So that's about 20% reduction. If I keep going, it comes in even more. Now this is about as far extended as most people might get. But at the end of that, we've come in and I'm looking at about 7 inches there. Dropped off from about 10. Again, the full range or the full rep here, roughly, if that's about 10 inches, watch what happens. Boom, it's gone in about, I would say about 3 inches, maybe even more, right? So that's important to look at. So it's, when people say, oh, a leg extension's a leg extension or a press is a press, that's not the case at all. If we look at this, we see that this has a certain amount that the moment arm changes, so a certain amount that the resistance will change, right? That other machine over there, to me, looked like it had a different curve or a different resistance curve, a different resistance profile to it. That is to say that the resistance is not the same. You can put the same amount of weight on that weight stack, and even if the weights are exactly the same in the machine, because of this different shape on the cam and the direction at which that cable is pulling, that can alter the actual resistance you're dealing with. So I want you to see this as a comparison. So a different brand, it's got the same name, it says leg extension, it's supposed to do the same thing, but the resistance will not feel the same. Now, that also has to do with some other things, exactly where they put the axis in relation to the seat, and you can alter the height of the pad sometimes, depending on the exact model and the brand and how they design it, right? But you can change the height here, and that can affect what you feel in your knee, right? And of course, you can adjust the range, with little levers here, the little pins that you can pull out. So that's another discussion. But I wanted you to see the change in the resistance based on just the moment arm change right there. So ponder that for a little while, and hopefully you're able to take that with you to the gym next time.